My name's Lyle Rupp. I run the office here in Cincinnati. Sorry, this earpiece is going to allow me to communicate with you. It's having problems. Anyway, we are live in Cincinnati. We're going to walk through the stocking of a kiosk for an event, be able to manage that. Now, to give you a few things, we've had some requests for this during a number of the events that we have had over the last couple of webinars. But I want to be able to give you a little bit of interactions and things that you want to be able to do to give us questions, to feed back information to us during the webinar, and questions that you might have or things that you want us to slow down or emphasize. So, on the website, first you can through Twitter, you can go to hashtag Snowie Live, or that of the hashtag is the # or number sign, but hashtag Snowie Live. Or if you're on the website watching this, what you want to do is go under the Facebook comment. It'll ask for your Facebook password and username, or username password. You'll put those in, and from there it will log you in and you can post questions. Aaron will be responding to all the questions from Salt Lake City. Those questions, as he responds to them, will be off of the Twitter tab. So keep an eye on that as you go through it. So let's begin. I'm going to get my ugly mug off of the screen and walk you through what we do here. What I wanted to do was actually show you the way we stock a kiosk from start to finish. Probably the easiest way to start with that is a checklist, and this is something that's available as part of the marketing kit that Snowie offers. I'm going to hope that sorry, now that I'm shooting this, I got to be able to have glasses on so I can actually see and make sure that that's legible. So if we look in here close, looks like, there we go, got it in focus. These are all the different items that are on the list that we take with us. So I'm going to go off this checklist and read it, but I'm going to show you the items as we begin. But you'll notice in the upper left corner where it says K8-1, K8-2, those are identifiers on our equipment. So if you have more than one, it just makes it real easy that at any given moment an employee can look at it and say, oh look, we're using kiosk number K83 for this event. And that way when we stock it, we make sure which one we're doing. Now, first thing on that list as we walk through it is we fill a water tank. And so we would literally just pop this off, put our hose in there, fills the water tank. You can see here, you would be able to see the water levels inside this and be able to know where your water is, or stick your finger down in and you're ready to go. Why? Board of Health always likes it when you have the water accessible. The water system, obviously, that Snowie offers has the 3-stage system. It is pressure or power driven. So you got a water pump in there, you got your hand wash basin, and your gray water tank. Meets all the health requirements for the vast majority of the Board of Health. So we always start with filling that water tank. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to start at the top. This is the attic space in the kiosk. So what we're looking at here, give you an outside view. This is an 8-foot kiosk, the 8x5, and we've got it up in the upper mode, opened up, ready to go. Every time before we go to an event, we do clean the inside out. It's power sprayed and ready to go. And then what we do at this point is now stock that kiosk. The bottom would be sprayed out, windows clean, all of those kind of things. So what we're going to stick up in there, and I'm going to walk through the supplies first, and then I'll go through and do the actual stocking. But we go through with our cups. This is our small, our 8-ounce cup. We take 40 of these. I can take 15 or 30. I can do different boxes. I just use a box to stick up in the attic to keep the cups separated. It makes them easy to count. There is a cup count sheet that the employees will use. So we have our small, our medium, and our large cups, and those will fit up in the attic space. And then we have our blade housing for our Snowie 3000. This is the blade housing with the blade in it. The reason why I carry it this way, if something happens, you watch one of our videos how easy it is to change, but I can change it far faster by putting a new blade and housing on rather than just a blade. If I'm doing the blade only, I have to take the housing off, remove the old blade, put the new blade in. My downtime can be 10 or 12 minutes. By replacing it this way, where I just take the new housing and take the top off the shaver, set this one in its place of the old one, of the old housing, and my downtime runs about 4 minutes. So I'm able to do that a little bit faster, a little bit quicker, a little bit easier. It also helps protect the blade. Then we have other things that are on that checklist is our miscellaneous items. And what we talk about with the miscellaneous, this is going to be little things like a holder for my spoon straws. I'm sorry, for my spoons. My napkins, my spoon straws, a clipboard so the employee can keep track of their cup counts, and then we have in here paper towels, the all-important tips for college for the employees to get tips. I got my hand soap, I've got a small first aid kit, got my dishwashing soap, we've got an X-Acto knife, just a variety of some permanent markers, the things that the employee would need through the course of an event. And then we'll just pack that all back in there. But that's gone through, make sure we have everything ready. The next item on there is our spoon straws and our napkins. So we have them all packed, ready to go. Our price signs, and you'll see where all this gets packed in. Now we happen to charge $3, $4, and $5 for our small, medium, and large. And then we have spoon straws. Gal, I keep saying that. We have spoons. You can see this is just an extra spoon holder as well as a bunch of spoons in it. We usually carry about 1,000 spoons with us. And then we have our towel box that'll have garbage bags as well as a variety of hand towels to be able to make our sanitized water. That'll come later. Then our flavors. Now I'm doing something here a little bit different than we've done in the past. This is an experiment. We are using 2.5-gallon jugs instead of 5-gallon. One of the challenges when you look at a 5-gallon jug that's completely full of flavor, that weighs about 56 pounds. The problem at 56 pounds is to lift that up and set it on top of a flavor station, it's very heavy. And it's okay for me, I'm 6'5", I can get that up there easily. But I've got an employee managing the event. It may be a young lady that's all of 5'4" and weighs 105 pounds, a little bit much. So we've taken and broken it down to 2.5-gallon jugs. What that does is allows it now to only have to lift 28 pounds instead of 56. The spigot that you put on, the one thing you'll notice, there's a vent cap here. If you look from the side, I can take that off and let air flow. This does not have a vent cap. So the spigot we use that you can get through Snowie, this is the red spigot as we call it, simply has a larger feed and also has the little tube on the back here is self-venting. Allows the air to flow back into the unit, so I don't have to have a vent cap in order to be able to run and prioritize that. Obviously, there is our red spigots. It's also got our Clorox that we use for our sanitized water and a wrench for removing the lids. When that sugar water dries, it's going to be very difficult to get off of there. Our windsock, our garbage can, and a pair of blocks. You'll understand those in a minute. Then you're going to see the flavor station, the shaver, our drip pan, a box. Oh, sorry, I don't know why I said a box. A cooler with a scoop in it. And then I've got our mist sign. And then this is stuff that we'll take with us that doesn't go in the kiosk. A jack for taking off the tow hitch, our tow lights, our coolers for our ice, and our cash box. And I'll walk through those in a few minutes. So what we're going to do now is actually stock our kiosk. I've got a couple of my employees have been gracious enough to show up and help us with this. Now I'm going to do a couple of things. So what I've talked about, and Aaron, he'll text, or Zach, you'll text Aaron to make sure I can be heard on this. I'm assuming because I've got the earpiece in, I can. What we're going to do is I'm going to stock this first in the attic. What that allows me to do is get my cups up out of the way, put my smalls, my mediums, and my large. The other thing I stick into the attic, which we talked about, is the blade and housing. That keeps up out of the way. I can get to it whenever I need it. This top actually goes up a little bit higher. I think we're just about there. I'm taller than most. There, I went the rest of the way. I'm at 6'5". You can see there's quite a bit of room. So unless I'm simply trying to stand at the very front, I'm not going to have any issues. For headroom, there's an opening here. The majority of my employees aren't my height. Typically, I find if you're 6'2", 6'3", very seldom with a problem. Now, my top is already packed, ready to go. I'm going to show you one other thing. In fact, I'll show it now, and then I'll take it out and put it in later. People ask all the time, how do I keep my cups from falling out of here? We take the drip pan for the Snowie 3000, and it slides up into the attic, drop it into place, and it's sealed. Kara, they're going to get to stock it.
Okay.
Sorry, apparently we were having some audio difficulties. So what I did is stuck the drip pan up in the attic. I just inverted it, and that seals that off. Tuck your drain tube up out of the way, and that keeps your cups from falling down as you're traveling around. Now what we're going to do is go in here and stock the main level. So we're just going to grab, Kara, go ahead and grab things. I want you to see how simple this is. One person can go ahead and stock it, and we have a diagram for everything of where it all goes. So she's putting the price signs, and the seat will go under the counter, or on top of the counter, on top of the sinks, out of the way. And we stock every unit. I've already gone through that. Okay. We stock every unit exactly the same way, all of our containers. The blue container is always the miscellaneous box, so the employee doesn't have to start going through boxes to find things. The next one, this one's well marked, as we talked about, is the napkins and spoon straws. And even the order these are put in, we do it for a very specific reason, and I'll get into some of that. Then we have our spoons, and our towels and garbage bags. Let's get down here where we don't have the light coming in. Blind that. So again, miscellaneous box, napkins, spoons, and towels. And then I got an open space here, and what we're going to stick in that open space is our extension cords. Off those extension cords, I have a 100-foot cord, and I have a 50-foot cord. And that allows us then to reach as far as we possibly need to. Farther than that, we're not going to do much. The last piece that she just stuck in is a cover for the flavor station, and I'll show you how that works in a little bit. The next thing we're going to do is now stock our flavors. Now, as I walk through, go ahead. So I walk through the flavors. I told you with this, I have 6 flavors that we use on, it is the 6 flavor freestanding flavor station that we're going to be using. So I stock 5 gallons of every flavor, except blue raspberry and wild cherry are our most popular. I put 10 gallons in, which happens to be, for 5 gallons, it's 2 of the 5-gallon jugs, and it's 4 of the 2.5-gallon jugs to get your 10 gallons of blue raspberry and wild cherry. Again, 5 of everything else. Now, she puts those in. She sticks them under the counter. And even the order that these are put in are kind of critical to us. And the reason behind that is if I have an employee that's standing right here in the booth, I'm going to look out from here, I'm standing over in this corner. That means while I'm working, if somebody is coming in to refill the flavor station, they're not going to be able to get to those flavors easily without disrupting the employee. The last thing we want to do is have the employee have to stop making snow cones so that we can go refill a flavor station. So we stick our extra wild cherry and blue raspberry there. Poor Kara, I'm making her do all the work while I shoot the video. She's supposed to go the opposite way. She's got to get in the workout here. There it is. We make the young lady do the work. And Zach's over here taking text messages. I'm shooting a video, and Kara's grunting away. Somehow we kind of blew that one. No. Now, I want to walk through this order. Wild cherry, blue raspberry, that's my extras. Sour grape, that's the slowest seller of the 6 flavors. So I have it, and then I have lemon lime, then tiger's blood and cotton candy are about the same, and then I'm back to wild cherry, blue raspberry. Reason, Kara, if you'll step in right here. So if Kara was standing here making a snow cone, turning like you were making a snow cone. So if she's standing there or talking to a customer, you see I can come in here very easily and grab flavors, almost every flavor, without disrupting her in any way, shape, or form. So it allows her that simplicity. Thank you. The next thing we're going to stick in there is our 5-gallon jug of water. Gets that back up out of the way. And then we're going to stick in the blower. And this will be mounted, and we'll show that when we shoot the video. But we tuck that back out of the way. If you haven't figured this out, what we're doing here is playing Tetris, but in a Snowy kiosk. And then this is our pour spouts, the spigots that we talked about, rather, the Clorox and the wrench for making the flavors. And so that's tucked there out of the way. And now what we're going to have is our flavor station base. And then the shaver. So Kara will set the shaver up.
Oh, you want me to put it up?
No, no.
Okay.
I'm just putting it in place.
Okay.
And then we grab. Oh, leave those in because we're not going to do that yet. We're pretending we're heading to the event.
Gotcha.
So this is our garbage can, and inside it is the blocks that I talked about that we'll be using shortly. And then our flavor station. Now this one typically takes 2 people. If you got somebody working alone, just ask for somebody walking by. Almost anybody will do it for a quick snow cut. That's tucked inside. Then we have our miss sign off the front of the building. And that miss sign is going to be lifted up. Kara's making that look awkward. And what we've done with that, I don't have my glasses on. And you can see here it actually tucks up. Actually, tuck it in a little better, Kara. Okay. This is designed. This is why I put the smaller containers and everything. Is it'll slide right up inside under that, so it's out of the way.
If they don't have Facebook or Twitter, they can text Aaron.
Oh, if Aaron says if you don't have Facebook or Twitter and you have questions, you can text him at 801-484.
No.
Oh, sorry. 550. 8995. Give me that again. 801 550 8995. And that will. Actually, I want to position this a little differently. It actually slides up all the way in like that. And then the last thing to go in is our cooler.
Goes in like that.
Now, the little thing is, we always teach my employees, go ahead and put it in. When you are putting a cooler in, always put the hinges towards the front. That way, as the wind is blowing this way, it doesn't catch the top. If I turn it around this way, and I'm driving down the road, this top opens and acts like an air brake and just pulls against that. Not a big deal here. When you put a big cooler in the back of a truck and you have the hinges to the back, the top will be ripped off. It will do that very easily. At this point, the next thing we're going to do is we're now ready. All we're going to do is pull the top down.
Yep.
Oh, I got a key. So we're pulling the top down on the unit. And then what I'll do is come in here. I'll actually go through this, but you'll see we'll put the pin in on each side. In the interest of time, I'm not going to reach in there and put that pin in. Now, let's assume, oh, and we close the door. I keep a bungee on there so it doesn't flop around. We put our key in. One of the things a lot of people don't realize with this key, when I put it in, it's very solid when you lock that door. But one of the things they do, Zach, operate the key for me. When I have that key operating, now notice when he puts it in place, it turns the handle, now turn it again, now pull it further. It actually pulls the handle back into the door so that it locks it in place and that handle cannot be moved now. So it actually acts as a lock as well as holding the door tightly in place. Now go ahead and open. Now at this point I can do this, I just don't have it locked in place. And that's what the key does, is locks it that extra step. Go ahead and leave it open. Okay, so let's assume we pull into an event. We're going to actually now set up for an event and show you the process in which we go through. So we would pull in, we raise our top up. Obviously we're being lazy here in the interest of saving a little bit of time. Unlock the door. And I'm going to just let these two start going through the steps. They pull out all the components. Now, a couple of them, one of the things I realized, we normally take out, at this point, the mist sign and the blower. And what we're going to do...
Do you want us to pull it down?
Yeah, go ahead, Kara. Now, what she is going to be doing here is she's going to reach up in here and loosen a wing nut. What that wing nut is... Yeah, go ahead and pull it down, guys. Okay, with that down, you'll now see here the mounting bracket for the windsock. So, can you guys lower the... Kara, loosen the nut on
Yeah.
that?
Hold on, that's more.
Zach, use the other end. Or is it? Okay.
We got it. You got it?
So we just put one of the pins in place. That's fine,
Okay,
Zach. Those pins, by the way, you'll notice they don't go all the way in. You know, it's part way in. And the reason is that there's hydraulics inside there so that help lift that top so it doesn't need to penetrate. So she loosens the top. Now we're going to grab the windsock. You got to get it about a ½ inch loose, Carol.
Yeah, you're good.
There. We got it. And then they'll take the windsock, set it on top. A little, looks like a kind of almost an M bracket over it, and now she'll tighten it from the inside. And then we raise it up, and we'll just feed it through and get it hooked up. Zach, go ahead and do the mist sign. She'll get that. Our mist sign, now you'll notice there are two things coming off the mist sign. There is a plug and a hose hookup for the mister. And what he'll do is come around and drop those down through a hole in the bracket and puts the mist sign in place. And what we do for an event, until we're ready to open, we just drop it to one side. And then when we raise the top, if you leave it out like this when it's down, people are going to walk into that. You know, I'm walking along and plunk. Not a good experience. So when you raise it up, put it out, but in the meantime, turn it out of the way. Simple, ready to go. On there. Okay, now let's pull that pin back out. And what they'll do is pull the pin. We're ready for the event. I'm going to step back here a ways. Now you'll see that lifting by itself. That's the hydraulics. They'll lift it the rest of the way up and then put the pins back in place to hold it. Don't worry about it. It's going to stay for what we're doing. The next step will be to grab the base to the flavor station. Once you're in that, Kara's going to put the machine up. She'll put the drip pan in place. And then we come out and put the flavor station. I like to do this a couple of different ways. We put this flavor station out off here's the front where you'll be serving the customer. And so they can come up, sitting here will be their straws and napkins, and then we'll turn like this and the flavor station's right here. Notice I have them turning away from the wheel. That prevents them from accidentally turning and catching the wheel and tripping. So it makes it a little better to put it on the other side. We flip off, this is what we call the drain cup, or the cup, and then there's the drain hat. You'll see he's placing that into the drain bucket, those tubes. We're sitting on the outside here. Allow any spilled flavor, if it rains, that kind of stuff, they all filter down through, drain through those holes. Make sure the thing is level, which it is, and then we're going to grab our flavor station. Oh, let me show them that, Zach. When we travel, we keep the drop, it's a 1 or 2 gallon mop bucket. We put that in to hold the flavors in place, pull that off, leave that for our sanitized water, and then we carry the flavor station around and set it on top, and it's ready to go. Okay. At this point, we'll loosen the lids so air can breathe into them. And then you'll see down here we have a valve. So I'll reach and turn one of those valves. So you can see now the valve is straight up and down, and you can work your way around. Those valves are able to be shut off so it keeps people from playing with it and operating the flavors when you don't want them to. Zach, Nick, Zach, any messages? Okay. Again, I didn't know what Aaron was texting us. Just want to make sure we stay up with that. Next thing we'll do is put the shaver in place. See the drip pan is up there. Sets the shaver in. And then we unwrap the cord, plug it in, and then drop our foot pedal down onto the ground, and we're ready to rock and roll. Last thing, grab the miscellaneous box. At this point, she would open this miscellaneous box up and put out all the necessary things. I'm not going to make you go all the way through. I just wanted you to see what we're doing. Oh, yes, our price signs. I forgot we're tucked under the counter. Those will be taken. We've put a Velcro strap around them, and we just simply wrap them around the post. And we have two sets of price signs, if you remember, and the other one would go on this post here. So it just makes it easier for people to walk up, and we angle them in just a little bit. So as they walk up, it's very simple for them to look at. And at this point, now we turn our miss sign out. It's ready to go. And we're done. Last thing we have to do is simply run the extension cord and plug that in. Now I do want to walk through. So you can see I just have a cord here, and we plug that in and ready to go. The only thing we have I apologize, we have two things left to do. I don't want to leave this tow hitch. Last thing you want is somebody tripping over that tow hitch. So we come back here to our blocks, and we're going to stick the block under the kiosk. Now I'll step back so you can see where I'm putting them. And that is under that front strut, just like the rear struts that have the axles. On the front one, we put it under. We put it this way. If you put it this way, the metal here will bend. We don't want that bending. If you turn it this way, it's a much more structured, more solid, gives it a nice, clean, finished look. Now, put those blocks in place. Then what we do here, take the high lift jack it up. It helps if you lift the tab back. Put it in the up position. Lift it up. Okay. Zach, will you spin the wheel? Spin this. It's ready. Now we put that in the down position. Lowers it down until it sits down on the blocks. You're not taking it. Take it all the way up, Zach. Okay. One more time. And now it's sitting on the blocks. All the weight is off the tow hitch. And at this point, we pull out the pins. Tow hitch comes out. Put the pin back in. We always keep the pin with the unit so it doesn't with the part. If you move between a couple of them, you can take it back with you. We just stick it under the end so it's there when we're at the end of the event. And we are now completely ready to go. Now, what else is missing? There are a couple of things. We have thrown into the back of a truck. We have two large coolers we take with us that'll hold 12 20 to 22 pound bags, and we just put them in vertical, side by side, 6 across. We have a set of tow lights that allow us to do that. Go from Snowie, and then a cash box. In the cash box, we even have a checklist. In fact, something that might be of a little interest here. People ask, what do I take with me money-wise? And you can see here my trailer lights, a pull handle. See that little handle sitting on top? Zach, could you pull out the tow hitch again? Eric, go ahead and put the tow hitch in. Grab the handles. I want to just show this. When you're trying to move this around, you know, we don't always get the vehicle put in place perfectly, or back in perfectly with the vehicle. So we position this, and what we can do instead of using your hand to grab the handle or grab that chain, we went to a weightlifting store and bought us a little pull handle. And now we can pull and maneuver that building any way we want simply by pulling with that. Makes it a little bit simpler and a little bit easier. Available at any Dick's Sporting Goods or probably any other weightlifting facility. So that's the kind of stuff we're looking at here that we have. The trailer lights, the pull handle, the jack that we used. Then our money box, we keep $500 in it. We have, actually this is an outdated one. We now have 201s, 305s. Our cup count sheet, our test strip for our sanitized water, our health permit, and a calculator for doing the math. If we need it, then we have a generator as well to keep track. So just simplicity. This is the cup count sheet I talked about. There's our test strips, a spare key to the building, and our starting cash, and the permit in the bottom there, and the cash, or a calculator. Be able to do that. Now, let's assume we get to the end of the day and it's time to shut down the event, but I'm here for a 2 or 3 day event. I don't necessarily want to have to repack everything, so we're going to go through and do this as if we were just finishing up today, and we're going to now leave everything for the second day without having to do a complete shutdown. Sorry, I want to get that back out of the way. So what we do, the shaver is put away. She coils back up the foot pedal and the plug. The reason why we don't leave them plugged in just keeps the cable out of your way and you're not having to mess with it. And then just set it back down onto the bottom of the floor. That gets it out of the way. It's ready to go. Stick the garbage can back in here. Put the cooler back in on the last, and then we're going to pull the top down. Oh yeah, I guess it would help if we removed our price signs. Let's go back under the counter. And then we have 2 things left to do. And that is, the flavor station is out here. Well, I don't want to put that away and I don't want people playing with it. So we're going to come in here, we're going to reach in again and turn off all those valves so nobody plays with them. Ah, there's the one. So all the valves are shut off. Now we're going to throw a cover over it. And this is a flavor station cover, custom designed for our flavor stations, sized to the units themselves. And we pull that down snug. She's catch a little bit on the spigots here. And she'll pull that around. Zach, will you help her with? Now, you can leave it at this point, and even if you want, come around here, there's a pair of strings, and you can pull that tight. Personally, we like to just take and wrap a bungee cord around it. And voila, we're done. And that flavor station now is safe to sit there. And then we come back the next day, pull the flavor station cover off, open the valves back up, and we're back in business. Last thing we do, pull the top down. We'll pin it back in place and move our miss sign out of the way. If we were finishing for the end of the day, the only thing we would have done different is taken off the miss sign and the blower and stuck everything back inside, just like we did in preparation for the event. Okay, see if there's any more text messages. We don't. What I wanted to do, try to keep this to about 30 minutes. That was a very fast walkthrough. Text Aaron and see if there's anything else that he wants covered. But wanted to just give you a fast and furious way of doing it, how we pack the location, or pack the kiosk, how we set it up for an event, and then prep it for a second day if we need to, bring in more flavors, whatever, and obviously our excess supplies that we'll bring in and out every day.
Do you ever have a problem with the flavor station tipping over or being pushed over?
The question is, have I ever had the flavor station knocked over? I have had, in 11 years, I've had 4 times that our flavor station was knocked over. 2 times, come here Zach, was something like this. The guy standing here, and there were 2 drunks in a fight. One of them came running up and hit him, and hit it, and the 2 guys weighed about 250 pounds apiece and knocked it over. So outside of those drunks, I've only had 3 other times. 2 of them were by a forklift and the other was by a truck. not watching where they're going and backing into it. Outside of that, no, I've never had a flavor station knocked over or pushed over. The amount of weight on there from those flavors will hold that very, very stable. And like I say, never had any issues with that. Pop that cover back off. One other thing, and this is, I'm going to make a couple of quick changes to our setting here. I want to turn out some of our light. This is an added feature some of you may or may not have seen for our events. Wait till the doors all get down, Zach. And what we try to do here is allow this to be more visible at night. If I'm at an event that's dark, I've still got some lights on, but this will give you the idea, is we have the option to add a lit flavor station. So a customer can come up even in the dark and easily be able to read the labels and see what they're getting. So a far simpler and easier way of operating in the dark when it's not light outside enough for the customers to see. Any other questions? Okay, and I think for the most part we're done. I want to thank my assistants here from Kara and Zach. No, they're not my son and daughter. It is my son, but not my daughter. Kara's been with me, what, 5 years? Yeah, you can tell she didn't have to think much about where things went. That's kind of an automated response after working in our warehouse for enough years. So this is Lyle Rupp signing off from Cincinnati, Ohio.